Hi guys, so Q&A part 3 apparently. If you didn't see the previous ones, I started this with this face of makeup. So I was basically doing my makeup while I was answering some questions. And I decided to do a part 2. And I got so many questions and my memory card ran out of space that I decided to do a part 3. Now this is in space of our shopping Sundays, and I get it. I haven't seen the comments yet, but you're missing them. I know, me too. But I'm on a no-buy and I am trying very, very hard not to go to the shops. And so I thought we would take a little break and we'll do some like chatty videos instead. So continuing with the questions, you can go and see the other ones if you want. I probably answered some questions you may have had, but that's a lot to watch all of them. So how are you finding the no-buy? Which is very relevant to what we were just saying. So basically, for those of you that didn't know, I am making an effort to pay down my debt, spend less money, use up what I have, etc., etc. And this is like the last year of living in this house, and next year we're planning to move. So it's kind of a culmination of lots of things. I want to come out of this with some savings. I want to come out of this with less stuff to pack up to move to the next house. And that is really motivating me. Now, in terms of the no-buy and how I'm finding it, like difficulty-wise, you would be surprised what I'm finding difficult and what I'm not. So what I tend to struggle with, it's not beauty stuff. If I can go to Boots and not buy anything, no problem. I do these shopping Sunday videos, 9 times out of 10, I don't buy anything at all. I find that if you are in Primark and you go into the changing room and try things on, you will come out with maybe one of the 10 things that you wanted to buy. Just taking the time to really consider whether you want something, try it on, you probably don't. With makeup and stuff like that, a little bit of distance, go and take a look at something, maybe go for lunch, go and walk around some of the shops. By the time you're going home, do you really want to go in and get that thing now, or was it an impulse purchase? These are the things that have worked for me already for the past couple of years. I've been kind of like trying to move away from impulse random purchases. However, something that I do struggle with in that is content. So you guys love a budget beauty haul, and we will be doing them. I think next month I'm going to bring in some stuff and we're going to do a budget beauty haul. They're very, very popular. And knowing that, it's difficult to talk myself around from saying, well, I need to make this content for my channel, for my viewers. This does well. This brings people in. This is partly my job. It's hard to kind of find that line, but I'm buying things I don't need. And so I'm trying to find other ways of making content. Exhibit A, we're talking about other things today. So that is tricky. But on a personal level, I'm not missing buying makeup. There might be something where I go, oh, do you know what? I'm really not enjoying using this thing up. I really want to buy another thing of this. But because I've challenged myself, I'm waiting. That's all part of it. I'm making myself accountable. I've got to use up some stuff before I'm allowed to purchase something else. So that's number one. That's the makeup side of it. The other stuff is Amazon. It's all Amazon. Amazon and supermarkets. That's where all of my money goes. So I'll give you an example. Today, I cleared out a load of shoes from our hallway, and I thought I just need somewhere better to store all of these shoes. I want to be able to see them. The reason that they were there to begin with was so I could see them, and now they're fucking everywhere. Apologies, but they are. They're just like, I don't have a great place to store shoes. And I previously would have been straight on Amazon, buy a shoe rack, here tomorrow, £30, done. And I'm really, really trying to get myself out of that habit. That is my number one thing. Amazon, quick. Now, I did break yesterday. I decided to do a complete no-buy for Lent, by the way, for those of you that don't know. So all the way up till Easter, Shrove Tuesday, so Pancake Day, haven't bought a thing since then. Apart from, and we're on, I think, the like 14th of March as I film this. So I'm doing okay. And I think the one thing that I broke on is not too terrible because it's a TENS machine. So for those of you that have followed me for a long time, you will know I really struggle with back pain, upper back pain. Lots and lots of you have told me over the years that I need to try a TENS machine, but they made me a little bit scared because I knew it was like electric pulses, and I thought it's kind of near to stuff, you know, like my heart is probably up there somewhere. I don't know. It was making me a bit scared. Anyway, a friend at work had one and she brought it in for me to try, and I was obsessed. And I was thinking, I'm going to wait till payday. It was only 2 days. And I thought, no, I need to have one right now. So I ordered one. It was like £25, not a lot of money, but I did break the no-buy because that would have been included in that. I'm kind of considering it to be pain relief. I'm trying to give myself a break on that one because I've been really good otherwise. So Amazon is a real struggle for me because it is very like, it's just the instant, oh, I need this, I'll get this. and I'm not doing that. The other thing is avoiding the supermarket. So we do click and collect shopping, which has been very difficult thanks to the coronavirus because all of the slots are taken up. Now I'm filming this one 2 weeks out. Anything could have happened with the coronavirus. We could all be like I was going to say homebound. What do I mean? We could all be like housebound, homebound. So that's kind of, it's interesting to film this now, knowing that all these updates keep happening. We just found out Tom Hanks has got it. He's taking it really well, super chill. Very good example for everyone. But you know, there's nothing available anywhere and you can't get the click and collect slots, which is super annoying. But like shopping delivery or click and collect is great for people like me who are like, oh, maybe I'll get this, maybe I'll get this, maybe I'll get this. I can go into the shop and spend £50 and get that day's food. How? I mean, I could also maybe like pick up, oh, well, maybe also I need this, maybe also I need this. It's not just the food, but it doesn't, I'm not buying anything mega expensive. It's just things. Like, oh, I need some candles. I need this, I need that. I walked through Asda the other day and they had this gorgeous tea light holder that was like iridescent, beautiful, glass. Didn't buy it. I was at work the other day and I thought, when I get home, I need to clean the house. I have cleaning supplies. I've got everything I need. And I thought, oh, I'll go to Asda. I'll get some like shake and vac. Love it. Who still uses shake and vac? It's still absolutely perfect for the job. It's basically, for those of you that don't know, like a powder that you put on your carpet, you let it like soak in for a bit, and then you vacuum it up, hoover it up, and it refreshes your carpets. Do the shake and vac, put the freshness back. It was a song. So I thought I'll go and get that, and then I thought, oh, also, I really want a new notebook because I don't need a new notebook. I've got thousands of notebooks, but the feeling of like the fresh start thing in me, wanting a new notebook, wanting some pencils, wanting like, I go, oh, I'm going to do this. And for this, I'm going to need. That's the worst. I don't spend all my money on makeup. I spend all my money on Amazon and in the supermarket. So that is tough, but I'm doing okay so far. How do you stay so upbeat? Another great question. I definitely don't stay so upbeat all the time. I definitely have lows. I was talking to someone the other day. I did do a video about anxiety a little while ago. I was really struggling at the time. It was really hard. And it was the first time that I've really struggled like that. Possibly not in my life, because I did have some counselling after I had Ella. I had now what is obviously postnatal depression, but it wasn't, no one said that that's what it was. I didn't think I was depressed. But I had like some counselling in person and some over the phone counselling through the NHS. And I kind of forget about it because, I don't know. And I don't remember how I felt. I just like, for me to have gone to a counsellor, it must have been pretty bad. But it's like, it doesn't exist in my mind. But this is the first time that I'm like, in memory, that I felt really like I just didn't feel like I could cope with life. And so obviously it's not constant, it's not always upbeat, but I think the reason that I'd kind of come to that point of feeling out of control was because I'm so used to being able to control my mood. I'm so used to being able to think myself happy. I like myself and my husband argue about this all the time. I say argue, I just tell him he's wrong and he doesn't agree with me. He is someone who, if he's unhappy, everybody knows about it. He doesn't know everybody knows, but it's just like a vibe. It's just an energy that it gives off. He's like instantly like, oh, I'm so annoyed. But he'll be annoyed for 10 minutes and then it dissipates. I talked about it in that anxiety video of like it being like a balloon. It like, my balloon is very, 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 very slow to inflate. Whereas his inflates really, really quickly and then pops and then it's gone. Whereas mine is like really, really, really slow to inflate. And then it's just like me trying to keep this balloon out of sight. I don't deal with things as well as other people. And so you might think that me being super shiny, positive, happy all the time is a good thing or something you should aspire to be, but I don't necessarily think it is. I don't think there's any right way to be in terms of your emotions and like how you handle stuff. But I am very like head in the sand, out of sight, out of mind, like deal with it later, don't want to think about it kind of person. And so that allows me to be like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And if you say everything's fine, then everything will be fine. But it's not. Sometimes it's not. And that's kind of an Instagram versus reality as well. Like you see all of the good stuff, but you don't see the bad stuff. And I think that, like I say, it can be misleading. I can definitely put on a positive face. I think that it helps. Smiling. This is such a thing as smile therapy. But telling yourself everything is good helps. and wallowing and telling yourself everything is bad is not good. But I don't deal with my personal stresses and worries and sometimes problems. And I will push them down and push them down and push them down. And then eventually I've got to deal with it and I feel completely overwhelmed. And it might not even be that big a thing, but because I'm almost like just not capable of dealing day to day woes in the same way that other people are. I'm just like, no, everything's got to be fine all the time. I know that's like rambly, but I think it's important to say some people's personalities are just that way, and it seems like they're happy all the time, and they want to be happy all the time, and they're just not capable of like, right, okay, this is a problem. Well, no, I do that. I do deal with problems, but like, if there's an emotional thing, I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it until it's done, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll work through it. Like if I'm having if I'm going through like a difficult time, and Emma, for example, she is always the person I think of. Emma says to me, oh, how are you? And I go, oh, well, you know, there's this happening, but I don't want to talk about it. And she'd be like, oh, no, we need to talk about it. Like, tell me. And I'm like, no, I don't want to live in it. When it's finished, then we'll talk about it, and then I'll deal with how I felt about it, and then I'll deal with whatever. But while something's happening, I don't want to talk about it. I just kind of am very like, duvet over my head. Nobody talk to me until this is over. So, you know, never know, do you? How's the savings going? There are no savings yet. I'm still paying off the debts. And if you didn't watch my debt video, it's not a lot of debt. It's just unnecessary debt. I shouldn't have debt. It's not necessary. I'm earning more than I've ever earned in my life. And my bills are less because currently we live in a house with my parents. At the end of this year, we'll be like setting it up to sell next year, hopefully. That was like the plan for everyone. But I need to just be a grown-up, put myself in a better position when we move. I don't want any debts at all, like no overdrafts. I heard recently that the overdraft fees are going up insane. Like they're going to some crazy level. So I'm just getting it together. When are you moving house? Again, hopefully next year. Working from home with your videos, etc. What do you find keeps you motivated from a procrastinator? I am a major procrastinator. Major. I think that the only thing, like I work best to a deadline. So usually I film my videos like later than I should, which is why the light sometimes isn't great, why I'm complaining about, oh, the sun. Nobody cares about the light. I try my best not to complain about it, but occupational hazard. If I film first thing in the morning, the light's great. So right now it's 11:10 and I'm 4 videos in. 5 videos in. And I'm feeling very motivated. And the reason for that is I planned to do some other stuff this morning around the house, and I was going to film this afternoon. And my mum invited me to lunch, and I was like, right, that means I've got to do this stuff before 1. Suddenly my deadline was pushed up. Usually I've got to leave the house at 2:30 to get the kids, and around 12, that's when I'm like, oh, I've only got 2 hours, I've got to do stuff. I'm horrible at time management. I will sit around and be like, oh, I'm editing, oh, I'm just planning this and just like wander about, cleaning up a little bit. I'm not good at that stuff. And I would be way better if someone every day called me and said, oh, you've got to do something at 12 o'clock. And then immediately I'd be motivated to do stuff before 12 o'clock. And then they called me up and went, no, it's fine, you don't have to do it. I need someone to like micromanage me. But I would also hate that. Can you do bargain skincare again? I definitely can. It hasn't been that long since I did one. I think it was September. 6 months? Was that a long time? Are you back on Twitter? I am not. For those of you that don't know, I quit Twitter because I just was bringing out the worst in me. And to be fair, recently I found this as well on Instagram. I can be really drawn into some insane arguments in comment sections and on Twitter about nothing. And I found myself almost in that camp of like wanting to be outraged. I would open Twitter and see something and I couldn't ignore it. I had to argue with people and I didn't like myself on Twitter. And I just thought, no, I have to stop doing this. I got in an argument with someone that I quite like about something that wasn't important because I just took objection to it. I was like, oh, I don't like what you've said. I just thought, this is not me. This is just not me. And so I deleted it. And that was that. And that was, as you watch this now, probably like 6 weeks ago. And hopefully I haven't gone back on it. I haven't at this point. It's been 3 weeks and I don't miss it at all. And it was my most used social media. And my life is infinitely better without Twitter. And I'm using Instagram stories more. I'm not feeling, I occasionally get the motivation or the like feeling if I get a thought and I think, oh, usually I'd put that on Twitter like, does anybody think blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying it. Just not always sharing my opinion. Not always. People don't need to know everything that I think. And it is a revelation. It's been 10 years. I've been indoctrinated. No, I'm not back on Twitter. I can safely say 3 weeks later I will not be back on Twitter. And I don't miss it. Do you think the whole blogger influencer market will die eventually? I don't think it will. I think it will change, but I don't think it will die. I think things will evolve. Any more children? I always say no, but you never know. You've got to make room for, number one, change your mind, number two, an accident. I would be stupid to say 100% definitely not until we've made some permanent steps, because I have already had one child that was unplanned, one that was very planned, one that was unplanned, but much loved. And you just never know what happens in these situations. There have been times in the last few years where I've said absolutely 100% no, to the point where if I was pregnant, I would not keep the baby. Controversial, but I feel very strongly that everyone has the right to choose, and I would not feel in any way like ethically wrong about that. I think that everyone has the right to choose. Some people, I've talked about this before, some people definitely have thought I would go the other way because I had a baby when I was 19. No, I wanted a baby and I thought this might be my only chance to have a baby. Not ideal at 19, but there was no way. It wasn't even on the table. Didn't even consider it. Whereas as an adult, thinking my family is complete and my life would be very much changed and I just am not prepared to have 3 children, I think that's a very different... I know I'm waiting for the comments and I'm kind of trying to get ahead of them, but I can see how someone would judge someone in my position right now more harshly than someone's position as a teenager, but I just don't have a problem with abortion, so long as it's done in the right way, for the right reasons, early enough, etc., etc. Ethically, don't have a problem with it all. So, random political statement. Do you have a pet? I do, and you can hear him. There you go. Loudest snorer in the world. And he is a dog. How is the knowbuy going? Anything made you really want to break it? Yes, the tens machine. But otherwise, going well. What are your favourite videos to film and also your least favourite? Do you know, I think these might be some of my favourite videos to film. I love to talk, obvs. Easy to edit. All one. Don't have to chop it up. And I don't edit these at all. Sometimes I'll like stop the camera and start it again because I know I need to finish and end, but I don't like edit things out or anything. I just talk. Sometimes while I'm talking, I'm thinking, oh, I don't know if I want to share this. I'm the abortion thing, not so much, but other stuff. I'm totally fine with that. I've written blog posts about it. But other things, I'm like, oh, am I sharing too much? Am I saying? And I just think, well, it's a conversation. This is how it would work in real life. You can't edit a conversation. You've asked me a question, I've answered it. Sometimes it's rambly, sometimes it's maybe something more than I wanted to share. It is what it is. As I said in a previous one of these, I'm very open and have no boundaries whatsoever. I will tell, if you come and have a coffee with me, you'll know my entire life. You'll know stuff that you shouldn't know about me because that's just how I am. Favorite videos to film? Yes, sit down chatty videos, something like this. I like to talk about products. This is the same basically as me being like, oh yes, this is my favorite foundation, my favorite mascara, anything where I can sit and just talk and not worry too much about like, oh, I need to get this in, I need to get that in, or worry about how I'm going to edit it later. Anything, just sit down and talk. My favorites. How many toilet rolls is too many? No, really, what would you hoard if the end was nigh? Okay, so it feels like the end is nigh because everyone is hoarding things to the point where other people can't buy them. I just ordered 45 toilet rolls from Amazon, not because I'm a hoarder, but because I'm worried that everybody else is going to buy all the toilet rolls. I would just buy them the normal amount at a time, but because everyone's being crazy about it, I'm buying them all now so I don't have to go to like 14 different supermarkets to buy 4 toilet rolls. It's just... it seems crazy. So I'm not in the camp of hoarding. Now, this is 3 weeks ago. Things could have changed. Check me out on Instagram and see whether or not I feel differently because it's daily updates right now and truly something huge could have changed between now and how's life? Any update on work? So I did mention in the previous Q&A that my job is now safe, which is great. The only other update with work is that I may be working more hours, more days, temporarily, not temporarily, I'm not sure. That may then affect my channel. We'll see how it goes, but that's the update. I did talk about it in way more length, or at way more length in a different video. Any advice with being able to cope or deal with stress? We should have done this the other way around. I'm getting to the beginning questions now. Obviously not, because my coping mechanism is to pretend everything's fine. I mean, other people deal with things so much better than me, I'm sure. And we all probably think that we're doing it the right way. But personally, for me, is this really that bad? Perspective is everything. Framing, really thinking about, is this really this serious? Is it really, really as bad as I'm kind of imagining it is in my mind? Or am I like blowing this up way out of proportion? That's the biggest thing of like, okay, this terrible thing has happened, but is it really this terrible? That's step one. Trying to put it in perspective and trying to think like, this time in 6 months, is this going to be this stressful? Am I going to look back at this and be like, oh my God, this ruined my life? Perspective is my only advice. What would be your ideal job? I've thought about this. And this is like in a complete dream world because it's not something I'm ever going to get to do. I would really enjoy editing adverts or trailers. Something where you give me a bunch of film, or a bunch of footage, and then I have to chop that up into something that would be appealing on in a small time frame, like 15, 20 seconds or whatever, or even longer, whatever. I would really enjoy that. When I watch like movie trailers or even things on TV where they show you like coming up this season or whatever, that's the stuff that I think I'd love to be able to get into that. I don't know what the path would be. I don't know if I'm too late. Some stuff definitely feels like it's age sensitive, and that maybe not so. But that, if I'd known that that was a job, if I'd thought about that being a job, I would really have enjoyed that. Oh, I know what it is. I want to be Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz on The Holiday. That is my dream job. How did you and Lee meet? We met at work. We met at work. One of my many, many jobs, which again is something I talked about in a different video. Oh, and then the very, very final question is another spam question. Simply hydrating your skin can help reduce the appearance of wrinkles. Did you know? I mentioned this in a different one, but I've had so many spam questions for this, and it really blows my mind because the questions come sometimes from quite well-known Instagram accounts, and then you know that they're using bots. Interesting. But that's it. That's all of the questions. And that is going to be it for our little hiatus from the Sunday shopping. I can't help but wonder, because we're looking into the future, I can't help but wonder at this point if we're all at home, not being able to leave the house, if we are, if we've all got coronavirus, maybe it's going to be like an apocalyptic world. It seems to be so fast moving. This like, now this is happening, now this is happening, now workplaces are closing, now the entire of Italy is shut down. Crazy. So I'm going to be interested to see where we're at in 3 weeks' time, or if it's just like, oh, it's cool now, don't worry about it. Don't know. But yeah, these are like I'm talking to you. Do you remember when we were all just normal and we had jobs and lives and we were allowed to leave the house? Yeah, that's the world I'm currently living in right now.